Spring practice is underway, and my crack team of investigators, I call them BOSA Team 6. They have jumped the walls of Schembechler Hall, Michigan practice facility, practice field. We have put hidden cameras inside the practice facility. So with everything that's going on, you can't stop it, Michigan. Sherrone Moore, you're watching. You're not going to catch our guys. So we're going to tell you what we believe is the depth chart for the defense right now and kind of project where it might be at the end of spring into summer and on to fall. Let me ask you this question. This Michigan football defense put up 19.92 points, gave up, I should say, on scoring in 2024. Will the 2025 defense do better? So I'm putting the number at 20, right? Just basically the same number there. 20 points per game on defense in 2025. Will Michigan go over? So over is bad. Under. That's the good. That's what we want. Under 20 points per game. Give me an over or under in the comments. It is the Michigan Football Report defensive depth chart for spring practice coming up right now. Derrick Moore will return for a second year as a starting defensive end, the only returning starter for this defensive line. Rayshon Trap Money Benny got some starter snaps, right? Did good in quite a few games last season, but not necessarily ever been the man at defensive tackle. Which people call him defensive tackle? I know nose tackle and these other positions. Let's just keep it simple for the viewing audience. Trey Williams, 6-year senior coming over from Clemson, I have got as the other starter on the inside. Now, there are other players, right? You've got Damon Payne Jr., who was a 5-star that went to Alabama, former state of Michigan high school recruit, and Eda, Ike Onwuna, that could end up be in the starting lineup. But Trey Williams, top 100 recruit, said, from the D.C. area, and started 3 games in 2024, but never really made an impact. So I am basically saying Clemson, bad vibes. Michigan, good vibes. That's all I'm basing this on right now, is that Trey Williams will get the chance. I was told he's going to get the chance to start. Will probably, on day 1 of spring practice be as the starter. But this 6-year college football player has to earn it. He's a big old boy, 315 pounds, limited production, but I don't know if there's anyone else who's, I don't know. There's definitely not anyone else who has done more, that's proven more. So I'm just kind of taking a shot in the dark based on what I've been told of how he is, expected to perform and what they brought him in for. So I think it's probably going to be him or Damon Payne Jr., one of the 5th and 6-year transfers coming over from Clemson and Alabama, respective high-level recruits, low output on the field so far. As the backups, we have got Cameron Brandt at the other defensive end, and then Dominic Nichols, Nate Marshall coming in as a true freshman. Michigan's really expecting a lot from him. Got injured in his basketball game recently, so we'll see how that shakes out. As I mentioned, Damon Payne Jr. from Alabama, the transfer. Eda, Trey Pierce was a decent recruit, and Ike Onwuna, the big old boy, he's in the 350-pound kind of range for Michigan. That is your 2 and 3 deep on the outside. Michigan calls it the edge, right? And I know some people say, like, oh, Michigan calls them linebackers. It's just blasphemy, right? We all know that these guys are going to be your defensive ends, and they're not linebackers. So I'm not going to play that game of semantics, because half the snaps they stand up with, they're not hand out on the ground that Michigan's going to call them linebackers. I am going as simple as possible. We got defensive line, we got linebackers, we got secondary. We're not going to get into semantics of wooden edges, whether it's a linebacker or not. So there could be a big shakeup, though, in the secondary. Michigan's got a couple transfers coming in, right? They've got Rod Moore coming back for a 5th year after missing all of last year.
Before we continue on in this Michigan football report, don't worry, James will be back. But here's producer Jack. I want to tell you guys about the sponsor of today's video, and that is Factor Meals. Are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? These Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. So you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, and add-ons. I'm going to tell you what, guys, I absolutely love Factor. We work long hours here at Chat Sports, and being able to heat and eat in 2 minutes. I know James loves Factor, and that's why I love Factor as well. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FACTORPODCAST to get $50 off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Now, let's get back to the Michigan Football Report.
Let's go over to the linebacker position where Michigan has the most returning, production, right? And certainly the most proven players at the position. Jayshon Barham and Ernest Hausman, the starting linebackers, both got, tried to get NIL deals pulled over from other schools. You got Jimmy Roller, Jaden Hood as their backups, but there's no real proven backup at that linebacker position right now, and that's really what's stopping Barham from maybe moving to a defensive end position, which Michigan talked about at the end of the year could be his future. Starting linebackers, they're going to be good. We know exactly what we're getting from them, and they got better as the year went on last season, but behind them with Jimmy Roller, with Jaden Hood, we do not know what we are getting. Will there be a freshman stand-up? Will be there a guy who kind of takes a step forward? Because after this season, I don't know what that linebacker position looks like, right? Jimmy Roller's been getting hype of, hey, he's a tough guy. He makes hits. He's a hard-nosed. He started a couple games from injuries, but he's not, I think he's going on his fourth season at Michigan. It's not like he's a freshman anymore. It's not like he's a young buck out there. And what does the future hold this position? We're going to get some really good play this year, but after this season, I think Michigan's really going to have to take a look and make linebacker the priority in the transfer portal. If you guys like Michigan football, hell, if you love Michigan football, like today's video, help us get our likes up. It's something that our last few videos have not got as many likes as they typically do. So hit that thumbs up. It's free. If you can help out a friend, Jack and I are your friends, hopefully. Give us a like. It's free and it's easy to do. So go ahead and do that. Gets us into the YouTube algorithm. More Michigan football fans will see this video, and hopefully we can continue to grow the show. Let's take a look at the secondary. Here's where some mix-up could happen, right? TJ Metcalf, a name that you probably heard about and probably haven't thought about for quite a while. He came over from Arkansas with his younger brother. He is a third-year player at 2023 recruit, and he could potentially be the starter there at the free safety position. But there's a lot of things that could be shaken up right there, right? Zeke Berry, he was safety last year at the beginning of the year. Michigan moved him to cornerback, where he ultimately played very well. So I think we're going to slate him in there as the cornerback to Jair Hill. Doghouse for a little bit, change his number. We didn't really ever find out what was going on there. But Jair Hill, Zeke Berry, we'll talk about Brandyn Hillman in a second, but TJ Metcalf could be the biggest impact transfer that Michigan has on this team. Now, there's not like TJ Metcalf highlight films out there that you can go watch that I've seen at least on YouTube or elsewhere, because I don't know, Arkansas football just is kind of a Mickey Mouse program. They don't have content creators who are creating hype videos for individual players, especially guys who are no longer with the program. But I went back and watched a handful of Arkansas games, just trying to find a kind of like, okay, he had 11 tackles in this game, so let's go and scroll through script. Okay, wow, that made a play there, got an interception there, went through the play-by-play. All right, he had an interception in the third quarter. Let's go watch that play, see the interception. I think he's a playmaker, man. I think he can be a really impactful player. Frankly, he reminds me a lot of Rod Smith. And you might end up finding out where they say, okay, Metcalf in this defense is better at strong safety. We're going to flip more over to Rod Moore over strong safety. We could ultimately find out that Brandyn Hillman, the hitman, right? Brandyn Hitman Hillman, he could end up not being the nickel. Maybe Rod Moore, after the injury, is better slated at that nickel position. But these are the 5 guys that I think are going to be the starters from day one. Then you got some backups there. If you want to toss that back up when you get a second check, I just want to go over the backups really quickly. Caleb Anderson, right? Multi-year starter from the University of Louisiana. You've got him backing up at the cornerback position. But watch out for Shamari Earls. High-level recruit, top 100 guy, committed to Georgia initially, and is early enrollee. We're going to see him here in spring practice. Here's some things about him. I think he could be one, like freshmen in the past have, by game 6, by game 7. He is making an impact at the cornerback position. So Josiah Edmond was a decent recruit a couple years ago. some people expecting him to be in the 2 deep this year, so I've got him slated there as the backup. One player that I didn't mention there that you saw, Mason Curtis. I think he is a star for this team in the future, but we haven't seen it a ton yet, but he's made a few plays. Mason Curtis. Keep an eye. Remember that name right there. But I want to ask you guys this question you've seen on screen for a moment. Grade Wink's first season. Wink Martindale returning for his second year as DC at Michigan. Grade his first year as Michigan's defense coordinator. I'm going to go with a solid B as I've taken it all in. Too much struggles early on. Really great play at the end. Kind of mash it all together. C first half of the season. A second half of the season. We're going to go give him a B. Give me an A, B, C, D, or F down below. Mason Curtis. Keep an eye out for this guy, right? I think I tweeted at one point during the season, he is going to be a star this year. Now, I don't think because of, I think if TJ Metcalf had not come over in the transfer portal, I think Mason Curtis probably was in your starting lineup, was like a 800 ranked recruit in the country, 3-star linebacker, came in like, hey, he's a little smaller than we expected for a linebacker, going to put him in the secondary. This is a name, whether it's this season, next year, 26, 27, he is going to be a star. You mark my words. If Mason Curtis is an all Big Ten first-team player in the next 3 years, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to say that. Caleb Anderson came over from Louisiana, 6-year guy, right? Starting quarterback in the last couple seasons, but in 2024 was injured for much of the year, right? Missed over half the season. So you don't have a full season of stats. When he was a full-time starter 2 years ago, 23 tackles for loss, 23 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 1 interception. So not huge production. I saw him more, much like last year with all those safeties Michigan brought in, as a depth guy. If there's unfortunate injury at one of the safety positions, the quarterback positions, or even that nickel position, maybe he has to slate in and start for a game or two or whatever it is. But I don't think he was brought in to be a starter, certainly. And he will play some good snaps. I bet he's somebody that we're going to look at the snap chart. He's getting 15, 12, 18, 16, 14, 17 snaps per game as his 6th year. And he's looking to maybe break out, have an interception or two, and catch the eyes of an NFL scout, get a chance in the pros. That's why he's transferring from Louisiana after 5 years. That is our defensive depth chart. Michigan is underway with spring practice. If you made it to the end of the video, you are a real one. Give me a Bosa, comment Bosa, beat Ohio State again. Let's make it 5 years straight. See you guys tomorrow. I think we're going to do a video tomorrow. Go Blue.